A good Tuesday morning to everyone. Today, I'd like to share with you from my readings in the Psalms. I've been working my way through the Psalms now. I've been working my way through the whole Bible. So now I'm into the Psalms. Psalm 19, verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. And verses 2 and verse 2, day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they display knowledge. That is nature. Nature proclaims God's glory, God's creative power. If you just look at nature, it's amazing what God has done. It just doesn't happen that the sun and the moon are there and function the way they do. The earth travels around the sun. The gravity, the spin of the earth. Just look at the migration of the geese. How do they know where to go? Is it an accident? The birth of an animal or the birth of a child. To me, that is a miracle. That is a sign of God's glory. I remember we went out to California on the North Coast, and we went out to the ocean, out to the beach, and it's a pretty rough stretch of beach. The winds come in, and nobody goes out there. There's a terrible undertow, but it was in the evening, and what an incredible sunset over the ocean. I mean, you could feel God's presence. And then we went into the redwoods, those magnificent trees that are thousands of years, some of them are thousands years old or more. And they're just so huge. And they grew and grow and grow and grow. Again, that's God's glory. And we found one that had fallen down, had been blown down in a windstorm. It was quite large. But the whole life system that was in that tree, from slugs to bugs to squirrels to all sorts of animals that were living in that down tree. Yes, it might have ceased to live, but it provided life. Again, God's glory was seen. And then we went out to an area where there were tidal pools, and it's just amazing. The tide was out, so you could see all of the creatures, sea anemones and sea stars and so many other things in the tidal pools. And then we looked out, and there were the sea otters, resting on their backs with a stone in one hand and a shell in the other, cracking, opening the shell. Again, God's glory. God's glory speaks nature speaks loudly about God's glory, God's love. And God is at work in our lives. As we walk, through our daily lives, may we see God's glory and God's work in nature, in the lives of others, and in our lives. Just have a glorious, wonderful, blessed day.